Chapter 12. Now these are the kings of the land whom the children of Israel smote, and possessed their land beyond the Jordan toward the sun rising, from the valley of Arnon unto Mount Hermon, and all the Arabah eastward. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and ruled from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, in the middle of the valley, and half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, the border of the children of Ammon, and the Arabah unto the sea of Chinneroth, eastward, and unto the sea of Arabah, even the salt sea, eastward, the way to Beth Yeshimoth, and on the south, under the slopes of Pisgah, and the border of Og, king of Bashan, of the remnant of the Rephaim, who dwelt at Ashtaroth and at Edrei, and ruled in Mount Hermon, and in Salcah, and in all Bashan, under the border of the Geshurites, and the Maccathites, and half Gilead, even unto the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. And Moses the servant of the Lord, and the children of Israel smote them, and Moses the servant of the Lord gave it for a possession unto the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the Lord, whom Joshua and the children of Israel smote, beyond the Jordan westward, from Bel Gad in the valley of Lebanon, even unto Bear Mountain, that goeth up to Seir. And Joshua gave it unto the tribes of Israel for a possession, according to their divisions, in the hill country, and in the lowland, in the Arabah, and in the slopes, and in the wilderness, and in the south, the Hittite, the Amorite, and the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. The king of Jericho won, the king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, won. The king of Jerusalem won, the king of Hebron won, the king of Yarmouth won, the king of Lachish won, the king of Eglon won, the king of Gezer won, the king of Deber won, the king of Gedar won, the king of Hormah won, the king of Arad won, the king of Libnah won, the king of Adullam won, the king of Makkedah won, the king of Bethel won, the king of Tappuah won, the king of Hepher won, the king of Aphek won, the king of Sharon won, the king of Medan won, the king of Hazor won, the king of Shimron-Moron won, the king of Aksoph won, the king of Tanakh won, the king of Megiddo won, the king of Kadesh won, the king of Yokneam in Carmel won, the king of Dor in the region of Dor won, the king of Goim in Gilgal won, the king of Tirzah won, and all the kings 30. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Now these are the kings of the lowland whom the children of Israel smote, and possessed their land beyond the Jordan toward the sun rising, from the valley of Arnon unto Mount Hermon, and all the Arabah eastward. Now we're talking about when Moses, before they even come across the Jordan here, and this is towards the sun rising, or east of the Jordan, and the borders of it is from Arnon unto all the way from the Arabah, which is the plains below the Salt Sea. Verse 2. Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and ruled from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and the middle of the valley, and half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, the border of the children of Ammon. And Jabbok was just north of where they crossed the Jordan at, and it is the valley of the children of Ammon, the children of Lot. And we remember from an earlier chapter in Deuteronomy where Moses did lead these in battle. This is where they come up the first time, and he said, go possess the land. And they turned back. These kings come out against them here. 3. And the Arabah unto the sea of Chinneroth eastward, and unto the sea of the Arabah, even the salt sea eastward, the way to Beth Yeshimoth, and on the south under the slopes of Pisgah. And we're talking about this is using all the Salt Sea and putting it on the east side. So because the Chinneroth is one of the cities of Gibeon, and it lies on the west side of the Jordan, so the sea here is counted to the east. And the border of Og, the king of Bashan, at the remnant of the Rephaim, who dwelt at Ashtaroth at Edrei, And Og here, we see he's a remnant of the Rephaim, who are the giants. These Rephaim being the descendants of the fallen ones, or the Nephilim, as mentioned in Genesis. Og is the king of Bashan, and he who dwelt at Ashtaroth. We remember Ashtaroth is where they had their little temple set up to their, not a goddess, Ashtar, who would later become celebrated as Ishtar here at Edrei, and at Edrei, because Edrei would be the actual royal city of Bashan. 5. And ruled in Mount Hermon and in Salcah, and all Bashan unto the border of the Geshurites, and the Maccathites, and half Gilead, even unto the border of Sihon, the king of Heshbon. So there are two cities, Sihon and Og's, bordered each other, and the Geshurites on one side, and he ruled over all this area right on the east of the Salt Sea. Moses, verse 6, Moses the servant of the Lord and the children of Israel smote them, and Moses the servant of the Lord gave it for a possession unto the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh. And if we remember, that's exactly what Moses did. He divided it up, because this is a plain, a very fertile land down through here, and it comes from the floods. When the Jordan floods its banks in the spring, that it sends its waters all out and dumps this into the fertile valley. So this was very good pasture land, because these three tribes had a lot of cattle. And Moses did divide this to these 2.5 tribes. Verse 7, and these are the kings of the land which Joshua and the children of Israel smote beyond the Jordan westward, from Bel-Gad in the valley of Lebanon, and Joshua gave it unto the tribes of Israel for possession according to the divisions. And this is where we've been in the book of Joshua. We've been reading how Joshua has went in, him and the children of Israel, their armies, and they've conquered this land. They went across the Jordan, and this is the land we're referring to, that which is west of the Jordan. Verse 8, in the hill country, and in the lowland, and in all the Arabah, and the slopes, and the wilderness, and in the south, the Hittite, the Amorite, and the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. And we're talking about, this is all the land, all the hill country that would be to the northwest of where they cross over. This would be all the way to Lebanon, and down to the south, all the way around the Salt Sea, down into the Arabah below, the plains down the flat land below, all the way to the Goshen, even Euphrates there. This is the 6 nations as well. They named 6 nations here. We know the Girgashite is left out once again. Verse 9, the king of Jericho, the king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. Now, as I read these, I always try to translate the names, because it's a habit of mine. So there, I want to translate these as we go. Each line, I'll just translate as we go. Now, Jericho is the lesser light, and we would get from this whole translation, the lesser light ruins the house of God. Verse 10, the king of Jerusalem, and the king of Hebron, 1, and we would get from this, which whom the teachings of peace are associated. Verse 11, the king of Yarmouth, 1, the king of Lachish, 1. Translation, their heights seem invincible. Verse 12, the king of Eglon, 1, the king of Gezer, 1. Translation, calf-like are strong, or their idolatry is strong. 13, the king of Deber, 1, the king of Gadar, 1. The innermost sanctuary have built a wall. Verse 14, the king of Hamal, 1, the king of Arad, 1. Their devotion is as a wild ass. Verse 15, the king of Libnah, 1, the king of Absalom, 1. But on the pavement there shall be justice for the people. Verse 16, the king of Makkedah, 1, the king of Bethel, 1. The herding in the house of God. Verse 17. The king of Tapua won. The king of Hepher won. An apple tree planted by the well. Verse 18. The king of Aphek won. The king of Sharon won. Restraint of the upright. Verse 19. The king of Madon won. The king of Hazor won. Strife in the royal palace. 20. The king of Shimron, Meron, won. The king of Akshaph won. Watch in the heights. They practice sorcery. Verse 21. The king of Tanakh won. The king of Megiddo won. The multitude, a gathering. Verse 22. The king of Kadesh won. The king of Yokneam in Carmel won. The holy place, the people cry for the garden land. Verse 23. The king of Dor in the region of Dor won. The king of Goyim in the Gilgal won. The generation rolled, because we remember in Gilgal they rolled away with the rock, the flint rock that was in reference to the law of God, which they recircumcised the children of God with. This, in verse 24, the king of Tirzah won, and all the kings were 31, and we would see that this would be favorable under the Lord God, that he had done this. This is his master plan from the beginning, that he would use these to show himself to all the world. All right, just a little bit of a study I did there. The may make sense to you, it may not, but just having a little fun. All right, we're going to move on. Chapter 13.